The river town of Leora was small, quiet, and forgotten. Travelers who passed through called it the village of silence. The streets were narrow, the houses old, and the people weary. Smiles were rare, laughter was rarer, and hope seemed to have packed its bags and left long ago. In this town lived a young girl named Ayla. She was not extraordinary in the way heroes are told in old tales. She had no crown upon her head, no sword at her side, and no wealth in her pockets. Yet, there was something about her, a brightness in her eyes, a gentleness in her voice, that made those who truly noticed her pause. Ayla lived with her mother in a small wooden house near the edge of the town. Her father had left when she was only 6, chasing dreams of riches in distant cities, and never returned. Her mother worked tirelessly as a seamstress, stitching clothes for others while her own hands grew rough and tired. Though Ayla knew the sting of hardship, she never complained. Instead, she found joy in small things. The warmth of the sun, the laughter of children, the sight of stars filling the sky like spilled silver. She dreamed not of leaving her town, but of healing it. She wanted to see her people smile again, to remind them that kindness had not died. One late afternoon, while gathering wildflowers by the river, Ayla heard a soft cry. She followed the sound and discovered a bird trapped in a fisherman's net. Its wings flapped desperately, eyes wide with fear. Many villagers had passed by, too busy or too indifferent to stop. Without hesitation, Ayla knelt and tried to untangle the fragile creature. The threads cut her fingers, but she worked patiently until at last the bird was free. It leapt into the sky, circling once above her before vanishing into the clouds. "You saved it," said a voice behind her. Startled, Ayla turned to see a boy around her age. His dark hair was messy, his clothes simple, but his smile was warm. In his hands he held a wooden flute. "I tried earlier, but the knots were too tight," he admitted. "I didn't think anyone else would stop." "Maybe people have forgotten how to care," Ayla replied softly. The boy's name was Rehan. From that day, the two became inseparable. He would play his flute by the river while Ayla sketched in her little notebook, drawings of birds, trees, and the dreams she dared not speak aloud. Rehan believed in music the way Ayla believed in kindness. "A song," he often said, "can heal wounds the eyes cannot see." Together, they found comfort in each other's dreams, though neither realized how deeply their bond would shape the future of their village. For now, Ayla was just a girl who saved a bird, and Rehan was just a boy with a flute. But destiny had already begun to weave their lives into a story far greater than either could imagine. The weeks after their first meeting became the happiest Ayla had known in years. Each morning she looked forward to seeing Rehan by the river, waiting with his flute tucked under his arm and that half-smile that made his eyes sparkle. Though both came from humble lives, their worlds felt richer when they were together. Rehan's father worked as a carpenter, shaping wood into tables and chairs for those who could afford them, while his mother sold fresh herbs in the market. Rehan often helped, but he always carried his flute wherever he went. He told Ayla it was his second heart. "What do you mean?" Ayla once asked as they sat under the old oak tree, the river flowing gently behind them. Rehan played a soft melody before answering. "This flute speaks when I can't. Some people fight with swords. Some people argue with words. I think, maybe I can heal with music." Ayla listened closely, letting the tune sink into her bones. It was calm, almost like the river itself, and for the first time she felt the heavy air of the town lift from her shoulders. "You can heal with more than music," she said, her voice thoughtful. "You cared for that bird. You care for me. That's healing too." Rehan laughed quietly, shaking his head. "You see too much good in me." "No," Ayla replied firmly. "Maybe others don't see it, but I do. And I think one day the whole town will." Their bond deepened with each passing day. They created little traditions together, tossing pebbles into the river and making wishes, writing dreams in Ayla's notebook, and sharing stories about the future they longed for. Ayla dreamed of opening a small school, where children could learn freely without worrying about money. Rehan dreamed of playing music in distant places, reminding people that beauty still existed in the world. "Your dream is bigger than mine," Rehan once teased. Ayla shook her head. "No dream is small if it's for someone else." But not everyone looked kindly upon their friendship. Some villagers whispered that Ayla was foolish for spending time with a boy instead of working more to help her mother. Others mocked Rehan for carrying his flute when he could have been earning more coin. "They'll never understand," Ayla sighed one day, sitting by the river. "Then let them laugh," Rehan answered, his tone gentle yet strong. "If people have forgotten how to dream, then we will remind them. We'll be louder than their silence." Ayla smiled at him, feeling a spark ignite in her heart. It wasn't just friendship anymore. It was something deeper, a shared purpose that neither of them fully understood yet. One evening, the town square held its annual lantern festival. The streets were lined with dim lights, and children carried small paper lanterns, their faces glowing in the faint flame. For a night, even the weary faces of the villagers seemed lighter. Rehan and Ayla stood at the edge of the crowd, watching as lanterns floated into the night sky. The sight was breathtaking, hundreds of tiny stars rising together, like prayers carried on the wind. Ayla whispered, "Do you think our dreams could fly like that?" Rehan didn't answer at first. He simply took her hand, his palm warm against hers, and said softly, "If we hold on to them long enough, they won't just fly, they'll carry us with them." For Ayla, it was the first time she felt that maybe, just maybe, her quiet dreams were not meant to stay small. And for Rehan, it was the first time he realized that Ayla was not just a girl who dreamed, she was a girl who could awaken the whole village. But the sky that shone so brightly that night would not stay clear forever. Beyond the lanterns, beyond the laughter, a storm was brewing, one that would test their bond, their courage, and the strength of their dreams. For the town of Leora, change was coming. And it would begin with the two dreamers who dared to believe.